What up, gang? We are back today for another video. Today we're going to talk about something that is kind of pissing me off lately, and that is nowadays in the fitness community, or like every single coach is promising you that you can get in shape without counting your calories. You can get in shape and still eat your favorite junk food. You can get in shape by working out once per week or once every 2 weeks. I'm not saying that all those concepts are not working, but one thing that's lately pissing me off is that every single time you have someone that is trying to maximize everything, like get his 10-hour sleeps, count his calories, get his 10k steps, so on. He always getting criticized for doing the most, being extra. But the thing is, when it comes to like fitness or like any endeavor, there always be the minimizer, hope you guys can see it, and the maximizer. And you gotta figure out which one are you. I'm an absolute maximizer. I always ask myself, what is the maximum amount of effort that I can put in and get the maximum amount of results? A minimizer, on the other hand, will always ask, what is the minimum amount of effort that can get me the most results? And there is nothing wrong with this approach, and it will get you results for sure. But my question for you right now is, what will get you results faster, especially when it comes to like your fitness journey, when you want to lose weight, build muscle, get stronger? What do you think will get you most results? Being a minimizer or a maximizer? For me, obviously, it's always been being a maximizer. I'll give you a quick example of how or what a maximizer would look like. A maximizer would be someone that works out 3 to 6 times a week, sleep 8 hours every day, eats clean, counts his calories, get his 10k steps in, and prepare everything the day before, sometimes even 2 days. I lived this lifestyle last year, 365 days, simply like that, and I got the best shape of my life. I got to sub 10% body fat, or 11, and I was lean as fuck, and I still got everything done. I said to myself, okay, what is the maximum amount of effort that I can put in without burning down and still get the maximum amount of results? I was doing cardio 3 times a week, 45 minutes, sometimes even 5 times a week. There was not a single day that I missed to count my calories. I always made sure I get my 8 hours of sleep in. I always worked out 4 to 6 times a week. Not missed a single workout. And I got in good shape pretty fast. But in the other hand, we got the minimizer. This is pretty much where, like, I say 98% of fitness goers fall. Or at least they're trying to be this person. Most of the time they end up trying to do like everything of that, but this is pretty much where most people fall into. Minimizer would only be working like once or maybe twice a week or every 2 weeks. He might eat clean, but he doesn't count his calories. It may work or may not work. He only gets like 2 to 5k steps in every day. That's fine. It may work, it may not work. It doesn't care about his sleep. Sometimes the minimizer will go and sleep at 4 a.m., sometimes at 1 a.m., sometimes at 10 p.m., and sometimes it be 4 hours, sometimes it be 6 hours, sometimes it be 3 hours. This is pretty much where most gym goers or guys that trying to pursue a better shape fall into. They always ask themselves, what is the minimum amount of effort that I can put in and still get the maximum results? And like I said before, if you actually have a system that is optimized to actually being this kind of person, that can get you actually great results, or at least satisfying results. But it will take time, because there are so many variables that can always be fucked up, especially this one, eating clean but not counting calories, or sleep. On the other hand, if you have the maximizer, you will always know the amount of calories he eats, get his 8 hours of sleep, not miss a single workout, and eats clean. That will always work the most. Every single time I'm stuck in a plateau, most people will say, okay, start with a different exercise or change up your program. I always ask myself, okay, what is the missing ingredient in that workout program that I'm running, or in the exercise that I'm running, that can get me to the next level? And it always has been the same thing: more volume, just simply doing more every single time. When I struggle to like increase the weight in a certain exercise, I start doing the exercise for 3 times a week instead of 2 times. Because I know, okay, now that I'm performing this exercise more often, my body will get used to the movement now faster. The biomechanics will be more internalified. Internalified, is this even a word? Internalized. I don't have to always start from point zero again. And I've simply broke every single plateau that I had. While the minimizer, on the other hand, when it reached the plateau or something, it will just simply change exercise and start somewhere back from zero. And let me clean this up real quick. The progression curve for the minimizer looks like this pretty much. Slow, steady, I guess. But it always cracks down again. While the maximizer progress curve will always look like this, in a way faster rate, simply because the amount of input will always surpass the minimizer. With more volume, with more input, more experience can be gained in a short period of time. Therefore, faster results. When you're trying to learn a new skill, do you think you're gonna get better by being a minimizer or maximizer? Do you think, like, let's say you practice once or twice a week, you will be better than someone that practice 3-4 times a week? And I'm not just saying doing the same thing, but actually practice with feedback. Pretty obviously, the maximizer will be better. A maximizer, for example, would get a coach to reach his goals faster, because getting a coach would be maximizing the amount of variables in your situation right now to get better in that thing that you're trying to get better at. A minimizer, on the other hand, would try to do everything itself, or like get information online because it's free. Not willing, here, let me write down, not willing to invest. Not willing to invest himself. A maximizer would always find ways to invest himself. Either it's his time, his attention, finance. To get to the results, he will always take that investment. And now, once again, if you're trying to get in shape, let me ask you this. What are you trying to be? Are you trying to be a minimizer and get, let's say, slow and steady results? If you got the perfect system, a good system, that might actually works for you. But like I said, it's gonna be a slow grind because you're allowing yourself to make so many errors. Or you want to be a maximizer, get fast results, maximize every aspect that is available to you right now and get fast results and be done quick or slow and have room for errors. I mean, obviously you cannot be a maximizer at all times. The number one problem that I've seen with maximizer is they are burned out pretty quick. And that's obvious. You cannot be running on 120% every single day, 365 days. So what you actually can do as a maximizer to not burn out and to keep this up for 365 days, one, plan. You need to have a plan. You need to have a specific plan that tells you when it's time to go 110%, when it's time to go 100, 80, sometimes 50, or sometimes just being on like steady 30. Number two, know your variables. The things that can fuck you over. What are the things that you gotta avoid at all costs so you stay focused? For example, no parties, no junk food, no staying up late, so on, so on. You gotta know the variables that can fuck you over. Best case, you have a coach to help you navigate all those things. Plan breaks. This one is pretty much the most important, no, the second most important, because as a maximizer, you will be running on 110% pretty often. But like I said, or like I mentioned before, you gotta know when it's time to hit the brakes. And the brakes, it's not a sign of like your weakness or incompetence. A planned break is also maximizing the input you can give in right now. For example, when you work out 3 times in a row, in the 4th day, you're not going to work out. That's the day where you take your time to rest, let your body heal. Because if you keep working out with the same intensity level, 110%, you will have diminishing returns. Obviously, diminishing returns are still returns, but at some point, you're gonna make anti-gains. You're gonna start losing muscle. You gotta avoid that. So therefore, you plan breaks, rest days, and you gotta maximize your rest days as well to get the maximum results out of the work that you have put in already. For example, on your rest day, you will not put yourself under stress. You will make sure you get an adequate amount of sleep, quality sleep. You will eat your protein, be on your calories, find a way to maximize your rest days or plan breaks. A minimizer, on the other hand, he wouldn't give a shit about that. as long as like the minimum amount of effort gets him up. For example, like I said, working out 1 time per week, simply eating clean and sleep. That's the only thing a minimizer would be concerned about. And like I said, it will get you results, that's for sure. That's still better than nothing. But if you want to have fast and actually impressive results, no matter in like what kind of area you are in, you gotta become a maximizer every single time. I am, for example, trying to be a better YouTuber, so I decided to produce a video every single day. Why? So I get better at creating content, so I get better at explaining stuff, so I get better at speaking in front of the camera, so I don't stutter no more, so I don't need breaks to build a cohesive sentence. God damn, you see what I mean? That was crazy actually. So, like I said, if you want to get in shape really fast and actually have impressive results, you gotta become a maximizer. Hold on real quick. So, to summarize this whole thing, what is actually a maximizer? To put it simple, you're trying to figure out what is the maximum effort you can put in, really the maximum effort to get the maximum results. So in your case, if you're trying to get in shape, means counting calories, sleep 8 hours, work out 3 to 5 times a week, 10k steps every day. Best case scenario, you have a coach. Hydrates. What else would be a maximizer be doing? Rest. If you maximize all of them to the T for at least 3 to 6 months, trust me, you're gonna be unrecognizable, because those things are exactly that the average person or the average man is not willing to do. If you just do this for a short period of time, you will get phenomenal results. Fast results. They're gonna think you in steroids. Even today, I met someone in the gym. He was like, "Bro, you put on so much mass. Are you on juice right now?" I was like, "No, I just take the shit a little bit more serious." Every single session, I'm trying to kill myself because I know, okay, if I push just a little bit further than my comfort zone, I will get more return. Most people stop their sets 3, maybe 5 reps before actually hitting failure. I personally always try to be 1 rep or at failure every single session. And I know one of my videos I said you should not be going that hard every single time, but for my case, in like 80% of my workouts, I hit failure like at least 4 times, where I physically cannot perform the movement anymore. Unless I start cheating, of course. But that's literally how I approach working out or getting in shape my entire life. Even when I was in basketball, I practiced like 7 times a week, sometimes 2 times a day, with weightlifting or strength training on top of that. Obviously that was slightly overkill, but I got so much better than people that already trained for like 5-6 years. I was beating them with like half of year training, simply because I had the maximizer mindset. And that goes for every single area in your life. If you want to be good at school, if you study after school 2-4 hours every single day, your grades gonna be on top. If you're broke right now and you put in extra hours, get even a second job, you will not be broke anymore. And if you are skinny or fat right now and maximize those aspects, you're gonna be in shape. That's literally the secret to the universe, I say, or at least to like our society norms. You gotta become a maximizer, and not on the bad things, but on your goals. You gotta attack them viciously and aggressive and ask yourself, what is the maximum input that I can be doing right now or put in to get the maximum results? That will get you everything you want. So again, one more time, become a maximizer. And with that being said, guys, I'll see you in the next video. Stay great.